All right, so Virgos, welcome back. Virgos, I'm going to start out with the storytelling of constellations. So we're going to talk about the constellation of Virgo. If you don't want to hear about this, you can skip ahead to where I get to the actual storytelling that we'll do in just a minute. But all the while, I'll be talking about the constellation. I'm going to keep this card in my hand, so that way, if you want to skip ahead, you can just see in the video when I place this card down, then you know I'm done talking about the constellation aspect. So you guys know I'm a storyteller, not a psychic. I love the art of storytelling. I love the link that takes us all the way back to, ancient humans. And that was something that we did. Well, of course, the stories of the constellations, which are the stories of the zodiacs, that's where we get those zodiacs from, right? So I wanted to talk about the constellation stories first. So for Virgos, yours is a convoluted story, just like Libra's is. And in fact, is very interwoven to Libra's story. And that is because on one hand, the goddess Astrea was said to have been the last immortal to live with humans during the Golden Era. So this was an era on Earth where, everything was beautiful, right? Everything was perfect. There weren't even different seasons because everything grew year round. Human beings had pure hearts. Everything was lovely. Then human beings started to get greedy. They started to, want more. They divvied things up. Pretty soon we started to have 4 seasons. And Astrea decided, no, I'm done with this. This is not balanced. This is not fair. She is also known as the goddess of justice. So she winds up leaving Earth and placing herself in the night sky. And she becomes the constellation of Virgo in one story. Okay. Now, because she's associated with justice, and because that constellation, depending on whether we're looking at it from the ancient Greek or the Roman interpretation, she actually was like holding the scales of Libra according to the way the Romans looked at things, although the Romans saw the scales as its own constellation, but very heavily interwoven. Okay, so I just kind of want to make sure that we mention that, because Astrea in this storyline is also, she's the starry maiden, and she's also very heavily associated with the goddess of justice. So we've got this crossover into Libra, the conversation about Libra as well. Now, as far as some Greek mythology goes, and of course, again, there's Greek and there's Roman, and names change depending on if we're talking about the Greek storyline or the Roman storyline. But she is also seen in Greek mythology as Demeter's daughter. So Demeter was the goddess of the earth. And her daughter Persephone, there's a story about how Persephone is snatched away and taken down to Hades, right? So she's in the underworld. She's snatched away by Hades, and she's in the underworld with him against her will. And she's this very virginal, very pure individual. And her mother Demeter, goes mad with grief. She can't find her daughter. She's looking everywhere. She actually goes to ask the sun, where is my daughter? And she asks Eos, where is my daughter? And they say she's in the underworld. So Demeter, in the time that she's looking for Persephone, kind of like stops tending to the earth, and there's all kinds of droughts and such. Anyway, eventually, long story short, she does get her daughter back, but because her daughter ate a few seeds of a pomegranate while she was in the underworld, it means that she must return multiple times a year, one for each of the pomegranate seeds that she ate. And that describes how we end up with the seasons, because in one story, Demeter goes into depression anytime Persephone has to go back to the underworld for that segment of time. And so she quits tending the earth. And that's the times where we see the seasonal changes. So that's another story of like what this is Persephone as well. So we've got kind of a couple of different mythology stories that can surround this. But the thing that I wanted to talk about also is more, let's move away from mythology and let's talk about something factual. There are a couple of stars of particular interest. So one of them is the 16th brightest star in the sky and has always been used for navigation. Spica is the name of that one. And then the other one is Porrima, and Porrima is actually a double star. And these stars, they orbit each other once every 169 years. And because of the shape of their orbit, because it's elliptical, we don't see it as two separate stars all the time. So, for example, in 2005, it was, we couldn't see it as two different stars. We knew it was a double star, but we could only see it as one. By 2010, because of its orbit around each other, they had separated enough that we could see it as two different stars, even just with a backyard telescope. And the thing that I think is interesting is that aspect of 169 years of an orbit. If you look at 169, that could be a significant number for somebody, but if you look at 169, it does break down to an actual 7, and a 7 is a divine number. So we could be talking about a divine vibration. A 7 is usually where the sky meets the earth. It's a place of divinity. And I just think it's interesting to talk about a double star that sometimes you can't tell them apart, and then sometimes they do separate enough, but they're always in orbit with each other. So I don't know, there's also an element of 169 represents dreams coming true, represents moving toward things that we really want, and being very conscientious about those things. So there's lots of different ways to interpret some of the information surrounding this lovely constellation of Virgo. But let's get to the storytelling now, while keeping all of that stuff kind of in the back of our minds. So to me, the important part was the start about Purima, the double star. And I'm holding this deck, but looking at this one. So I think we're going to start with the one I'm staring at, and then we'll use that as a clarifier. Let's see. What is our story for Virgo? We start out with a Queen of Pentacles. There's our Virgo. Masculine or feminine, doesn't matter. We still are starting out with a Virgo vibe. Somebody sitting in their personal power. Ooh, and daydreaming. 9 of Cups. Either someone is dreaming about their Virgo, or because we do have masculine depicted here, this could be somebody who is, they've got their sights set on this Virgo. This could be somebody who is orbiting the Virgo. This could be somebody, and also, I want to say that because we have those stories where, if we talked about the story of Astrea, leaving the evildoers of mankind and putting herself up kind of unattainable up in the stars, we could have a character where our Virgo actually kind of does that. Like, I'm retreating. I'm not playing this game. I don't want to talk to people right now. I'm going to go ahead and go into hermit mode, which of course, Hermit is the major arcana card for Virgo. But then we could also talk about it in that context of Persephone. And I just feel like, there's an element of Persephone, granted it was her mother that was seeking her, but the fact that she gets snatched away because, Hades falls in love with her and takes her to the underworld, but then someone else is sad. There's almost like a desire for the Virgo, and she's kind of trapped in the middle. And so it's interesting that we have somebody who is sitting here daydreaming about the Virgo, and she's kind of unaware of it. She's kind of sitting here almost solo. So I feel like we're talking about a single individual in this storyline who someone is daydreaming pretty heavily about. And yet we have a 2 of Swords that's shown up. So we've got this blockage, right? Almost like, is Virgo remote? Is Virgo unattainable right now? Is Virgo keeping themselves a little bit remote? With the devil. I want to say with the 3 of devil. Don't ask me why I wanted to say that. With the devil here in the reverse, though, there's really no reason for this blockage. There isn't anything preventing this. So why is someone wanting the Virgo that can't get the... We got 10 of Cups sideways, and hang on, the other one dropped to the ground. We've got the Strength card, and I'm sorry, we also have the Chariot. Somebody needs to go somewhere. I feel like somebody's gotta, what I hear right now in my head is mount up, like time to get on your pony and ride. It's like a cavalry thing, everybody, instead of dismount where, we're parking our horses and getting off, it's like it's time to saddle up and ride. Somebody needs to saddle up and ride because they haven't taken the step to really approach the Virgo or let the Virgo know that they want to meet the Virgo somewhere. So this has not been realized yet they've got this idea that I want the Virgo. And there isn't any sincere blockage. The devil's in the reverse. There isn't anything preventing this. So why is somebody sitting here wanting this? 10 of Wands sideways. It's just more or less like, okay, am I ready for this? Can I go toward the Virgo? Can I contact the Virgo and tell them, Virgo's sitting here alone in a place of abundance, in a place of happiness. And somebody daydreams about being with the Virgo all the time. Sorry, if you hear my dog over here, it's because he's over here and he's like fluffing blankets and all kinds of things on his little couch. So forgive me if you hear him rooting around and making little pig noises. It's because that's what he's doing. He's like, he gets irritated sometimes at me and then he roots around and makes noise on purpose. It's pretty funny. We've got this page of wands here in the upright as well. So there is a spark, but this person, they have so much emotion for the Virgo. They see the Virgo as their wish fulfillment. Their only blockage is, am I really ready to hop on my pony and ride to the Virgo? Or tell the Virgo that I want to see them. Tell the Virgo that I want this with them. Why? I don't understand why somebody has this spark. But it's almost like, are they intimidated by the Virgo a little bit? Is that what this is? I do feel like Virgo is remote, whatever that means. Maybe they work remote. Maybe they're not around people a lot. Maybe I just feel as if this person, we got 2 10s both sideways. This could be the start of the best thing in my life, or this could be something that, like, if I get rejected, it could really suck. I feel like that's more what this person is debating about, because they need to have the strength to ride forward and offer the Virgo something. And again, the topic of being remote, this could be somebody who is at a distance from the Virgo, so distance could factor in as well. And this is a card of travel also. This is somebody who's like starting to look into possibly traveling or starting to look into going somewhere. Ooh, enter the 7 of Swords. Why? But this 7 of Swords is a little bit different. This person has been like researching the Virgo and not being honest about it. This person has been researching something. They've got all those books. This person has not been straightforward with the fact that they've been seeking information for a long time. Page of Pentacles. It's like this person's been trying to figure out, what should I offer the Virgo? If I come forward, how do I handle myself? They might be reading up on like how to treat a Virgo, how to do this, what is a Virgo like? What's the Virgo's attitude? What are they most receptive to? I hope nobody's doing that, because, well, okay, what do I care what anybody does? I shouldn't say I hope nobody's doing that. Whatever you choose to do, I totally support people. But in this storyline, the only thing I'm going to say, and remember, these are always fictional stories about fictional characters, but we are so much more than a zodiac sign. So to try to predict how someone's going to behave based off of their zodiac sign, I'm a Virgo, like a huge Virgo. I'm so outweighed in Virgo in my chart. And you know what? It doesn't actually suit me. Personally, I care more about my North Node than anything, but I also don't dictate my life based off of my zodiac sign or placements. I am more than that because of free will. But I think it's fascinating to read about. But if someone were to say, okay, Kate is heavily Virgo, so therefore she must like things that are really super tidy. No, Kate's a piggy. It like some of the most, am I prim and proper? I am not actually at all. There's lots of things that are complete contradictions to what a Virgo is, quote unquote, supposed to be. So I just have a hard time thinking that if somebody is trying to figure out who somebody is based off of like researching, how should I approach them? I hope that this character is not doing it based off of book learning, because a human is not a textbook. A human, doesn't matter what we read about this or that, it's going to come across as clinical and false. And maybe that's why the 7 of Swords is here. If this person tries to offer something that they believe will be appropriate for this individual instead of contemplating the individual themselves. So I don't know why that message is there. Again, I don't ever say anything to try to like elicit other people to get irritated, or like whatever you believe in. If you think that, oh no, it's spot on, whatever our zodiac sign, that's totally whatever it is. Cool. Do you, boo. I don't care. But just as a side note, in this story, because of those cards, it prompted me to say that. But admittedly, that is also a personal opinion of mine. Please don't think I think I'm right. It's just the way I see stuff. Feel free to have your opinion, and my opinion is not right and yours is not wrong. So bear that in mind. We got a 6 of Wands here. This person really wants to have success. 7 of Cups in the reverse. They really don't want to make a mistake. And the High Priestess. They know that it's a little bit like, I think that they feel like the Virgo is, because this can be, I do kind of associate this with a bit of a Virgo vibe, but it's also Piscean Cancer. I see this primarily as Cancerian. But this is a situation where it's like somebody wants so badly to have success with the Virgo, and they don't want to make a misstep. And they're thinking that they've got it figured out, but here's the issue. The Virgo is also super intuitive. Anyone who's this earthy tends to be super intuitive. Aries, baby, what do you have? Come here, love. Sorry, my dog's got a hold of something, and he's having way too good a time. That always concerns me. Aries, let me see. Okay, you can have that. This is a situation where anyone this earthy is going to have, a connection to things that grow, a sensitivity possibly to emotions of others. Just like, if you watch things that have nonverbal communication, things like plants or other living creatures, you get good at paying attention to the communication that you see, even though it's not with words. If you are good at growing anything, you get into like a natural rhythm, because everything has like a natural logarithm, right? A logarithm is like, you can extrapolate and say, okay, like population growth has a pattern to it. Lots of things in life have a pattern to it that can be expressed as a logarithm. So we have somebody who might be naturally good at statistics also. We could be talking about a Virgo who is particularly really good at just seeing things. Like, this could be the kind of person who can, like, if you're taking a statistics course, so many people hate it, and it's like, oh, that comes so easy to me. This character is one who would be probably really comfortable with stuff like that. Possibly also able to kind of like see where growth is going to be, even like off the top of their head. They can picture like, okay, if I'm saving this much every month, then in 3 years, I'm going to have that much. Or if I'm earning this much per hour, if I work one more hour, 2 days out of the week, I can already see where that's going to take me. And they don't have to get out a calculator. They just know it. There's a lot of things that are just known because it's all about the natural rhythm of things, including could be like this character who's interested in the Virgo is, they don't want to make a mistake. They've been trying to figure out and like get in the Virgo's head and research the Virgo a little bit like they're under a microscope, and that's not going to work because the Virgo's always going to one up them because they don't need a microscope or a laboratory. They simply will be able to read this person, and that's the great mystery. That's the thing that this person can't put their finger on, is how are you such a mystery? How is it that you see things from like this energetic vision? They may view this Virgo as like a mystic, and maybe the Virgo is. And to have success with someone who they're like, you can read me, but I can't seem to figure you out. It feels like this is a character who's been trying to figure out the Virgo. But I think that they're going about it in the wrong way, because they're trying to dissect something that can't be understood that way. It has to be understood at the energetic level of just accept what you sense instead of constantly trying to turn it into a project. It's a little bit unnerving. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of that aspect of the story where somebody seems to be like trying to research a person in order, and granted, they're not doing it with a creepy intent in this story. They're doing it because they want to understand how to have success with the Virgo, but it's more like be authentic is probably going to be the most important component. Four of Pentacles. This person has a memory of something that got messed up already. This is why they've got so much concern about this. There's a memory here of what made the Virgo hold back from them. They are, no wonder they don't want to mess up again. So this is somebody who does not want to have another mistake. So they're trying to figure out how not to. But again, this is kind of how not to, I think. We get the Lovers and we got the Five of Wands in the reverse. That's right. Let it flow. Just let it flow. Okay, this is a great example. Let's go back to Purima, the double star that we talked about. I hope I just pronounced that right. That orbits every 169 years. They're always connected. These two, even if they had times where they were totally inseparable and together, even times when they're not together, which I feel like is right now, they are still energetically connected. So this person who's trying to figure out the Virgo, figure out how to come in and have things go smoothly, who views the Virgo as like, we're at a distance, but you're my wish come true, and I want to come in and have this work with you. The fact that they're still thinking about the Virgo and they're still connected to the Virgo, that already says they still orbit the Virgo, and the Virgo orbits them. These two are still interwoven, even in times when they're apart. So basically, the thing that they're trying to dissect, they need to relax and quit working on it so much, and just simply maybe just comment on that aspect. Like, Virgo, I feel you in my blood. You know what? I hear your thoughts sometimes in my head, because I look at something and I chuckle because I could just picture your reaction and what you would say about, whatever. I'm watching TV and I just know what you'd say because I know how your mind works. It's that kind of thing that, like, the Virgo made some kind of imprint on this person, and possibly vice versa. Let's see what the Virgo thinks. But in this storyline, we have somebody who just needs to chill out a little bit and simply go get their Virgo without overthinking it, without over orchestrating it, without trying to over define it, without trying to, pick it apart and dissect the Virgo, because they're not going to be able to. The only thing they can do is meet the Virgo in the energetic aspect of, for some reason, I know you can read me, and I feel that vibe with you. I don't know what it is, but I don't know that I can put a name on it. And I think that's maybe part of what has been a blockage, or what has been an issue here. So the very mystere that the Virgo has in this person's mind is also the thing that they're drawn to, and the code that they're trying to crack, because they want to have success with the Virgo. But it's like, why don't they just go ahead and basically accept the bond that exists here? What's a Virgo think about all this, if anything, right? World in the reverse, and Judgment. Okay, I was going to say, is Virgo not wanting a new start? No, with Judgment behind it. Virgo's like, this has never been over, because I know I've still orbited you just as you've orbited me. Why don't we just get back together? So wait a second. what's it going to take for this storyline to get worked out? Because I feel like this is a lot of unnecessary hubbub. Two of Wands. Do they, you know what? I never read this Two of Wands this way, but I'll say it. Two of Wands is usually a card of being at a crossroads and trying to decide which way to go. What I would say is these two need to meet somewhere in the middle. They need to both say, I'll drive your direction and you drive mine, and where we meet somewhere, like if these two lived at a great distance, it's like, we'll both get in our car at 4:00, and in 2 hours we'll find each other. It's like, I'll see you on whatever highway 169, highway 69, whatever it is. I'll see you at 7:00. I don't know. There's something here about they both have to choose the same thing. Yeah, they both just have to manifest the same thing. How do they get to that? What's the advice to get to that? If they both actually still want this, what's the advice for Virgo on how to get it? Three of Wands in the reverse. Quit thinking about it later on and just manifest it in the now. What about our other character, the one who's trying to crack the code on the magical mystery of Virgo? It's like they think that they can't have success until they crack the code. Oops, I thought one was going to pop out, but it didn't. What's the advice for them in order to be able to manifest this instead of just having all these delays? Wow, taking a long time. We still don't have any card out. Okay, finally we got one. It is Prince of Pentacles in the reverse. Put the pride aside. Quit slow walking this. Both of these people are in this storyline. They're both making unnecessary delays. Instead of manifesting something where we go, I know it's not over, but maybe someday we'll get back together. If Virgo wants to get back together now, it's more like, yeah, I'm not going to think about it in the someday context. I'm going to think about it and envision it happening now. Meanwhile, this person, they too have to quit slow walking everything, because this is our slowest moving night. This is like, that has to change. The perspective has to change. If this person has been out of a sense of pride, they've been like, well, I'm going to make sure that, I don't reach out to Virgo prematurely and then something goes and falls apart. So I'm going to first really study up, and they're making it like it's a job just to talk to the person they care about. They really need to get beyond that, because that's ego saying, well, I can't make a mistake. I can't make a fumble. Life is full of mistakes and fumbles. Instead, change that dynamic, change the thought process that it's got to take a long time and a lot of research before I can approach Virgo. This is not supposed to be a job. If this is somebody that we care about, why aren't we just saying it, right? Life gets so much easier if both people are like, I still feel you. That's a simple sentence. I still feel you. I still feel this connection's not over. If that's what both of them are thinking, that's an easy thing to choose to manifest. But the only key point is both of them have to want to manifest it at the same time. Otherwise, it's that weird stutter, start and stop and awkwardness. Okay, well, maybe you don't want this. Well, maybe I thought that maybe you wanted this, but now I don't know how you've reacted. This is like somebody's got to get, we already saw this. Our lead character is the one, for some reason, the burden is on them to come toward the Virgo. They're the ones who have to step up to the plate and have the courage to saddle up and ride toward the Virgo. I'm not entirely sure why the burden is on them. We didn't really see the why necessarily. We only see that it is there. The burden lays on their shoulders to have the courage to step up and go get them. And so I don't get to choose what cards come out. It's whatever flips out that I read. And so bear that in mind. Remember, these are all fictional stories. So please don't ever, listen to free entertainment and get all bent out of shape and think I'm talking about you or telling you how your life should be or how you got to act or who you got to take into your life. Not at all. I totally support you, whoever you are, wherever you are. These are fictional stories. So when you listen to my art, please keep that in context, because it'll make it a lot more fun for you to listen to it like that. And then when you make comments, please comment about the characters. Tell me, what do you think of the characters? What do you like? What do you dislike? But always put it in the context of the characters, because I am not a psychic, so I'm not telling you anything about you. And I'm super, super like comfortable with whatever anybody thinks. It's a different opinion. Like I hope everybody feels like this is a nice place where you can kind of express your thoughts and not be like torn to shreds for having different opinions. The only thing I ask is that everybody always stays on topic and that it is not done in like attack form. So anyway, and you guys are amazing. Thank you for your lovely comments. I only mention that because, there's always a handful of people that get really bent out of shape, and that message is just for them. Everybody else, you know how my channel rolls. So I hope you have fun here. I totally enjoy your energy, and thank you guys for being a part of my world. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing to my channel. It does mean the world to me. It's the only way I can have this channel. So it is so important if you guys would help me with that simple free thing that you can do to help support my channel, which is to click the like button and click subscribe. Those two things, they don't cost you a dime, but it does make all the difference for me. So thank you guys very much. And I send you lots and lots of love and support wherever you are, whoever you are. Bye.